It's our wedding photo shoot day. My fiancé, Larry's, first love shows up, and he just ditches me for her. He even grabs a random photographer on the spot and tells me, just take them with her. We can always Photoshop me in later. I look at my ex-boyfriend standing in front of me, and I'm lost in thought. My ex smirks, so, shall we? Not only did we take the photos, but we also got married. Larry, though, is regretting it. Who said you could get serious with him? I'm sitting on the couch, fiddling with the hem of my wedding dress out of boredom. Not far off, my fiancé is on the phone, his voice soft and gentle. He's comforting his first love. Don't cry, you know I can't stand seeing your tears. Looks like I haven't changed a bit after all these years. The moment you cry, I just cave. Wait for me at home, I'll be right there. I hear this, then see Larry hang up and walk over to me. He looks anxious and worried. Mia, something came up with Lily, I need to go take care of it. I'm leaving now. I stand up, what is it? Is she dying of cancer or something? Larry looks a little annoyed, don't be ridiculous, she just caught a cold. Around us, the photo studio staff are all looking over, whispering amongst themselves. I keep looking at Larry. Oh, so you do know she just has a cold. Someone snorts with laughter. The rest of the onlookers can't hold it in anymore and start laughing too. Larry glances back at them, then turns back to glare at me, clearly embarrassed. He presses his lips together, then scoffs, it's just wedding photos. We can take them anytime, anyway. With that, he turns, walks over, and randomly pulls a tall guy over to me. You take the photos with this photographer for now. We can just Photoshop me in later anyway. Then he rushes off. He really is worried about his first love, isn't he? He didn't even notice that the tool he dragged over is my first love. That face, suddenly appearing before my eyes, is still as stunning as ever. I swallow hard, my throat dry, unable to speak. But Evan just smiles, his captivating dark eyes sparkling with a charming, elegant, yet roguish air. With a slight raise of his eyebrow, Evan asks with a faint smile, the two of us? My reaction is a bit slow. Instead of answering, I ask, you work here? Evan's expression is enigmatic. He parts his lips and softly says two words, passing by. Then he asks again, so, are we doing this? I take a deep breath. Yes. Larry went to find his first love, so it's only fair that I take wedding photos with my first love. Evan is quite cooperative and goes to change. Facing the camera, the photographer says in an awkward and strange tone, could you two relax a bit, get a little closer? I turn my head to look at Evan beside me. He has a slight smile, and with a swift movement of his long arm, he pulls me into his embrace. This intimate gesture is something we're both incredibly practiced at. Nothing special, just muscle memory. Where'd your fiancé go? Evan asks. His large hand is gripping my waist. Damn it, how can he even talk about this with me right now? I gently try to nudge his hand away a tiny bit, trying my best not to move my lips, smiling sweetly. He went to find his first love. Evan looks at me with deep affection. I imagine in the photos, we must look like a deeply in love engaged couple. The kind that's about to become a real married couple. Oh, like us right now? Okay, next pose. The photographer clears his throat. You two can get even closer. Groom, you take the lead. I snap back to reality and see Evan's incredibly handsome face slowly moving closer. He always used to kiss me like this, slow and teasing. It always made my heart flutter. My heart races, and I instinctively close my eyes. Suddenly, I hear Evan's voice in my ear, are you free tonight? His voice is extremely low and soft, but the end of it feels like it has a hook. After all these years, the jerk is still so good at flirting. Damn. With so many eyes on us, Evan has the nerve to ask me a question like that, but I'm too embarrassed to answer. My heart feels like it's about to burst from my chest, caught between the thrill of doing something wrong and shame. As we change poses, I lean my head slightly and whisper in Evan's ear, "I have a fiancé." Evan lets out a soft chuckle, and his large hand once again settles on my waist. He's touched me there countless times before, his grip as intense and dominant as he is, each time almost sending me to another dimension. What on earth am I thinking in public like this? Evan's deep, smooth voice pulls me back from my thoughts. "Where's your fiancé now?" I quickly look up at him, my gaze locking with his intense, bright eyes. "Yeah, where is my fiancé right now?" I don't answer Evan's question. Instead, I answer his previous one. "I'm free tonight." Evan seems very pleased with my answer. A dazzling smile spreads across his lips, as blinding as the sun. He hasn't changed a bit. He doesn't have to do anything to attract me. The wedding photos are done. The photographer praises us, gushing about how great we were. "You two have such amazing chemistry. Every move, every look, I didn't even need to direct you. It was perfect. Especially the groom, the way he looks at the bride has so much tension, and the bride isn't overshadowed at all. It's like a duel, yes, that's the feeling, so much story, so much." The photographer is getting more and more excited when someone quietly reminds him, "Did you forget they're not actually together?" The photographer looks confused, glances at Evan, then at me, and a second later, it hits him. He slaps his forehead. "Look at my memory. You two don't know each other, right?" Evan walks over. "Can I get the digital copies now?" The staff member looks a bit hesitant. We haven't edited them yet." Evan pulls out a card. "I can pay extra." "Okay." The staff member readily takes the bank card and leads Evan over to copy the files. I go change and check my phone. Lots of missed calls and unread texts, but Larry's name isn't among them. Good. Very good. I am definitely free tonight. Outside, it's already dark. I ask Evan, "Straight to my place?" Evan's dark eyes hold a mysterious smile, illuminated by the city's neon lights. His handsome face is devastatingly charming. "Let's hit the supermarket first," he says. I pause, my thoughts drifting to embarrassing places, and nod slightly. "Let's go." There's a big supermarket nearby, so we walk over. This is the first time I've ever gone to buy condoms with Evan. He used to buy me pads often, though. So I don't back down and follow him into the supermarket. Even though I've never bought them before, I know they have this stuff at the checkout. When Evan starts walking further in, I grab his arm and point to the little boxes, reminding him, "They're over here." Evan turns to look at me, then at where I'm pointing, and pauses. I'm freaking out. Don't tell me I misunderstood. Evan smiles silently. "Don't worry, let's get groceries first." Then he takes my hand and leads me inside. Oh my God, oh my God. My dear Lord, I'm so flustered I could trip over my own feet. Evan pulls me with one hand and pushes a shopping cart with the other, heading to the produce section. "What do you want to eat?" "I just want to say goodbye and run." "Whatever." "It's snowing outside, let's have hot pot," Evan suggests, letting go of my hand to start putting boxes of fresh vegetables into the cart. Next is seafood, beef rolls, and lamb rolls, all my favorites. When he's almost done, he asks me, "Anything else you need to buy?" I shake my head. Evan pauses for a moment. "Do you have spare toiletries at your place?" I swallow. "Yes." "Let's go." Evan takes my hand again, as naturally as he did before we broke up. When we get to the checkout, he picks up 2 boxes of condoms and puts them with the other items. My cheeks suddenly burn. Evan walks into my kitchen and isn't surprised to see the brand new appliances. I don't cook at home. I don't know how. He doesn't ask me where anything is, anyway, I probably wouldn't know even if he did. He already bought all the seasonings and stuff, takes out the ingredients, and starts prepping. I, the host, just sit on the couch waiting for dinner. Larry still hasn't contacted me. When Evan comes out and sees me staring at my phone, he scoffs. Waiting for your fiancé's call? No. I put down my phone and meet his gaze. I'm afraid he will contact me. That's the truth. Things have gotten to this point, and the next steps are pretty clear. I don't want to get entangled with Larry. Evan's lips curve into a smile, his voice soft. Wash your hands, time to eat. The steam from the hot pot rises between us. I look at him through the white mist, feeling surprisingly emotional. When did you get back? I ask. Evan places a cooked mushroom in my bowl and says casually, been back for a week. I pick up the mushroom, and hear Evan's warning voice, careful, it's hot. My gaze falls on the mushroom. Were you really just passing by that photo studio today? Evan, no. My heart speeds up. This feeling is both strange and familiar. Only when I'm with Evan does my heart beat so vividly and intensely. Then, how did you end up there? Evan's tone is still lazy. I saw you go in. This answer was expected, yet it makes my heart pound even harder. I look up at him. Evan, do you still like me? Evan gets up, puts some cooked beef in my bowl, and when he's closest to me, I hear him say, when did I ever stop liking you? Evan and I were college classmates. When he first started, he was already the talk of the school, all thanks to that stunning face of his. As a sucker for good looks, it was love at first sight for me. But he pursued me first. Like all first loves, it was beautiful and intense. We were deeply in love, a passion so strong that even decades later, the memory would still make my heart burn. But we didn't just love each other, we also fought each other. Scholarships, the student council president position, competition rankings. He never let me win, and I never let him win. We competed from school all the way into our careers. Maybe because we both had high standards, and surprisingly similar tastes, we always ended up going after the same projects. We fought, and eventually, we fought until we broke up. I was the one who initiated the breakup. I was under a lot of pressure back then. My parents both wanted me to achieve something great and eventually take over the family business. But my cousin was also incredibly capable. He was 5 years older than me and had much more experience, so I was naturally at a disadvantage. And the project I had my eye on at that time was snatched away by Evan. The position of company vice president went to my cousin. That was the first time I ever lost my temper with Evan over a competition. I confronted him, are you even my boyfriend or not? Evan didn't back down. Mia, if I let you win, that would be an insult to you. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I'm tired, Evan. Let's break up. Naturally, Evan didn't agree. After a few more arguments, I screamed at him to get out. And he really did get out. He went abroad. Now there was no one to compete with me. And right at that moment, Larry returned to the country. Larry and I had known each other since we were kids, you could say we were childhood sweethearts. I knew all about his dramatic love story with Olivia. They were together in high school, and then went abroad together after graduation. Anyway, after years of love and drama, when Larry decided to come back, Olivia broke up with him. Our two family companies started a close partnership, and so, Larry and I agreed to an arranged marriage. I don't know why Larry agreed to marry me. I just knew that I had lost the VP position, so I was going to aim for the CEO position. Marrying Larry gave me more leverage. A year ago, our families officially announced our engagement, and both companies' stock prices soared as expected. Coming here today for wedding photos, the news was also public. I think if I hadn't seen Larry take Olivia's call, we would have gotten our marriage license tomorrow. But he went to Olivia, and he still hasn't contacted me. I guess he's probably still with Olivia right now. A man and a woman, alone together, especially exes, what happens next is pretty obvious. What will happen between Evan and me tonight is also pretty obvious. After dinner, Evan is in the kitchen washing dishes. Thinking I should try to rekindle our relationship, which has been on hold for a year, I follow him in. Let me help. Evan, no need. I stand quietly to the side. Evan suddenly says my name. Mia. It's the first time he's said my name since we reunited. My heart skips a beat, and I quickly respond, what? Evan continues washing dishes carefully, his deep voice firm. Break off the engagement with him. The him obviously refers to Larry. I pout. You don't have to tell me. Who knows how many rounds Larry and Olivia have gone by now. Marrying him after that would be disgusting. Even if it's an arranged marriage, I need someone clean. Oh. Evan turns his head to look at me, a hint of teasing in his smiling eyes. I thought you liked him. That sounds a bit jealous. I roll my eyes. So you knew I was going to take wedding photos with him, and that's why you came back? Evan readily admits, yep. I knew it. Jerk. Then you must have also seen the news about my engagement to Larry a year ago. Why didn't you come back to stop it? He puts down the bowl he's holding, turns to look at me, his expression serious. If I had come back then, would you not have gotten engaged? I shake my head. No. I was furious at the time. I'm stubborn, and back then I thought, since we broke up, that's just how it's going to be for the rest of my life. I was determined when I agreed to marry Larry. If he had come back to stop me, with my personality, things would have gotten even uglier between us. Evan knows me. He continues washing dishes. I walk over. So you weren't afraid that something might have happened between Larry and me this past year? Evan pauses his actions for a second, then continues. I didn't think about that. I thought the jerk was being pretty magnanimous. But then he suddenly puts down the bowl and looks at me again. But I'm thinking about it now. He walks up to me. Did anything happen? No, I reply. Larry doesn't like me. And I don't like Larry. What could have happened? Evan's eyes are like the dark night sky outside. He reaches out his long arms and pulls me tightly into his embrace. The next morning when I open my eyes, Evan is lying beside me, staring at his phone screen. Suddenly, I have this feeling of this is great, it's not a dream. I sit up and lean over. What are you doing? And then I see Evan's phone screen displaying the wedding photos we took yesterday. During those years when my feelings for Evan were most intense, I thought about marrying him. Back then, I never would have imagined that Evan and I would take our wedding photos under these circumstances. What's so interesting about them? I reach out and press down on his phone. Evan turns his head to look at me. They're beautiful. What's so beautiful about them? I throw off the covers, get out of bed, turn around, and look down at Evan sitting on the bed. They still need to be photoshopped. Evan grits his teeth, a faint hint of ruthlessness in his handsome, charming features. Didn't get enough of a lesson last night, did you? My cheeks burn, and I glare at him fiercely, holding my aching back as I head to the bathroom. Behind me, I hear Evan's laughter, arrogant and smug. He's always like this when he wins. Whether in school or in business, Evan and I have always been evenly matched. But in this particular matter, I'm no match for him. Every time, I can only watch him gloat, and I hate it. I reach the bathroom door, but I can't help turning around to glare at him and make a fierce threat. You just wait, sooner or later I'll destroy you. Evan casually throws off the covers, spreads his arms, and raises an eyebrow, looking exactly like a cunning fox. Bring it on. After I finish washing up and getting dressed, Evan has already made breakfast. 2 bowls of vegetable noodles. As I eat my noodles, Evan says to me, "Don't forget to break off the engagement with that guy." I reply. After breakfast, I go straight to my parents' company. This is the company my dad started, and it's also under our family's corporate group. In the CEO's office, my parents' faces are grim after I finish explaining. My mom asks me, "What are you planning to do?" Hearing this, my dad also looks up at me. Without any hesitation, I say, "Break off the engagement." No, wait. Not break off the engagement, but we're calling off the wedding. I'm not going to give Larry an easy way out. What, break off the engagement? He did something so disgusting. Does he still expect me to help him save face? My mom nods with satisfaction, her eyes full of approval. That's my daughter. Yes, we're calling off the wedding. My dad looks at my mom with a hint of helplessness, then smiles and shakes his head. Our daughter's personality is exactly like yours. Of course. I want to be like my mom too, build my own empire, so I don't need any arranged marriage. I've come to terms with it. Relying on yourself is better than relying on anyone else. Fine, you two are both moguls, you don't need me. My dad huffs, clearly jealous. I'll let my mom handle him. My parents and I decide that we'll go to Larry's family tomorrow to call off the wedding, and then I'll get back to work. It's past 8 in the evening when I finally get home. Stepping out of the elevator, I'm surprised to see Evan at my door. I hurry over. Why didn't you go in? Evan leans against the wall with his arms crossed, a slight smirk on his face. I don't have the code, and my fingerprint isn't registered. How am I supposed to get in? This guy can be so sarcastic sometimes. I take his hand and lead him over to register his fingerprint, then tell him the code. From now on, you can just let yourself in. Evan suddenly pulls me into his arms, and a fiery kiss lands on my lips as he presses me against the door. Does he have to be in such a hurry? I wrap my arms around his neck and kiss him back. It's only in this moment that I clearly realize how much I've missed Evan this past year we've been apart. Maybe we'll still butt heads in the future, maybe we'll still compete fiercely, but I never want to be separated from him again. Mia. I vaguely hear someone call my name, but with Evan's breathing filling my ears, I can't quite make it out. I thought it was my imagination. Evan suddenly pulls away from my lips, his large hand forcefully pressing me into his embrace. I look up and follow his gaze. Larry's furious face comes into view. He explodes like a bomb, rushing towards us. Evan lets go of me and steps forward to meet him. As Larry swings his fist, Evan's large hand firmly grips Larry's wrist, while his other hand strikes Larry's face with lightning speed. The force is so great that Larry falls directly to the ground. Like a madman, he scrambles up and lunges at Evan again, cursing. Damn you! How dare you touch my woman? I'll kill you! Evan kicks him to the ground again. Evan plants his foot on Larry's stomach, his voice low and cold, with an undeniable authority. Mia is not yours. Larry spits out some blood, wipes his mouth looking disheveled, and glares at me. Mia, you damn cheater. Before he can finish, he cries out in pain again as Evan grinds his foot into his stomach, showing no mercy. You know damn well what you did. Watch your mouth. Evan removes his foot, turns, takes my hand, unlocks the door with the fingerprint he just registered, leads me inside, and shuts the door. Frantic knocking sounds from the door. It's annoying me, and I want to go out and tell him to leave, but Evan cups my face. Focus. I don't know when the knocking stopped. It's just been a year, and Evan's attraction to me is overwhelming right now. It's only during dinner that I realize Larry has, at some point, disappeared. I don't want to see him again, but I'll have to when we call off the wedding. But my parents tell me they can handle it. After the wedding is called off, my mom calls to tell me it's done, and we just need to find the right time to release the news. My mom adds, even though I can't stand that Larry kid, we can't completely burn bridges with his family. We still need to keep up appearances. I understand. You can't make enemies easily. Mom, I know. Tell Dad I'm fine, and actually, I'm doing great right now. My mom laughs, her voice full of pride. Mom knows you're doing great. My daughter is focused on her career, and Mom is very proud. I feel a little guilty and don't dare say anything. Actually, it's not because I'm solely focused on my career that I don't care about the crap Larry pulled. Of course, I really don't care about him. But the most important thing now is that Evan is back by my side, and I've been wanting to shower him with attention lately. My mom's voice comes through again, but don't just think about work all the time. Eat well, have fun, and if you want to date, then date. Life isn't just about work. Don't worry about that, I definitely won't not date, I promise. My mom pauses for a moment. Are you seeing someone? I clear my throat. Mom, I have to go, talk to you later. Bye. I quickly hang up the phone. Suddenly, my waist is pulled tight. Someone embraces me from behind, a mischievous charmer, planting soft, tiny kisses on the nape of my neck. Is the wedding called off? I'm ticklish, so I shrink my shoulders to avoid his teasing kisses and deliberately tease him back, no. Evan's lips on my shoulder pause slightly, and then he bites me unexpectedly. His large hand immediately slips under the hem of my clothes. I grab his hand, turn around, pull him to the sofa, and with a gentle push, Evan cooperates, sitting there obediently, waiting for me. I love it when he's this cooperative. But my phone is not cooperating at all. Just as I'm about to destroy him, my phone rings. It's Larry. He actually wants to see me again. Evan's large hands grip my waist like iron clamps. Don't go. I'll just see him one last time. I cup Evan's face and kiss his lips. I have something else to do. Larry dared to humiliate me like that. If Evan hadn't shown up at the photo studio that day, was he really planning to just grab some random person to take wedding photos with me? I can't swallow this insult. And I don't want to. Larry asked to meet me at a coffee shop. It's not very crowded here, very quiet, definitely a good place to talk things over. He opens his mouth and says, "What's the deal with that guy?" Mia, we've been together for a year, and I haven't even touched your hand, but you're all over him. Don't forget, we're getting engaged. Larry purses his lips and nods to himself. I admit I shouldn't have ditched you during the wedding photo shoot, and I shouldn't have gone to Olivia. But Mia, you know how deep my feelings for Olivia were. Now that she's back and looking for me, how could I possibly ignore her? At this point, Larry sighs. Olivia's pregnant. The question marks above my head are multiplying, and then I hear him say, "The baby isn't mine." I ask him from the bottom of my heart, huh? Larry looks up at me. But don't worry, the position of Mrs. Anderson is yours, no one can replace you. It's just that I can't ignore Olivia. She's all alone, and now she's pregnant. She only has me now. After a pause, Larry's breathing deepens, and he looks at me seriously. As for you and that guy, it was just once, I can let it go, but don't let it happen again. He suddenly asks me, that guy is the one I randomly pulled over for you at the photo studio, right? I remember now, you're just trying to get back at me. I admit I was also in the wrong. I finally can't listen anymore and interrupt him. Didn't your parents tell you? Oh, that's a stupid question. Sure enough, Larry freezes. Tell me what? I sit up a little straighter. Since your parents didn't tell you, I'll inform you. Larry, I'm not going to marry you. Larry narrows his eyes slightly. What do you mean? I smile. It means, I don't want your sloppy seconds. Larry abruptly stands up. Who are you calling sloppy seconds? This immediately draws the attention of others. He sits back down, lowering his voice. Mia, you know exactly what our engagement is about. Don't act like a spoiled child. Also, I won't marry Olivia. I, Larry Anderson, will absolutely not marry a divorced woman. As for her and me, I did sleep with her, but didn't you sleep with that photographer too? We're even. I get up, grab my bag, and walk over to Larry. Larry thinks I'm about to give in, and slightly raises his chin. Mia. Do you know why I came to see you? I ask with a smile. Larry also smiles. Mia, we grew up together. You've always been someone who considers the bigger picture. I know that, and that's what I admire most about you. The only one fit to be Mrs. Anderson is you. No. I smile faintly. I came to see you because I have something for you. Before Larry can ask what it is, I impatiently slap him across the face. Great, everyone's attention is back on us. Larry's face flushes red and then turns pale as he stares at me in disbelief. Larry, that time you humiliated me at the photo studio, we'll call it even. If you dare to show your face and discuss me again, I won't care about our childhood friendship. Larry is either stunned by the slap or scared. I'm already out of the coffee shop before he chases after me, grabbing my wrist tightly. Mia. Get lost. I shake off his hand and get into the car parked nearby. Evan starts the engine. All settled? I nod. Yeah. Evan takes my wrist, his thumb gently caressing it. So, can I go visit your parents now? He drops his usual lazy demeanor, his expression becoming serious and solemn. I've wanted to visit them for a long time. I know what he means. If I hadn't lost that project to Evan a year ago, and therefore lost the VP position at my family's company, we probably would have met each other's parents by now. But I'm still a little worried. Do you think we'll ever break up impulsively again in the future? I won't. Evan's answer is clear and firm. He's putting it on me. His large hand envelopes mine, giving it a gentle squeeze. I know what you're worried about. Actually, sometimes I also wonder if I should just let you win, not compete with you. After we broke up, I thought about this question every day. Mia, I can let you win. I'm willing to let you win for the rest of my life. But it's not just me in this world. Me letting you win won't help you one bit. I nod. I know. When we broke up, I wasn't mad that he didn't let me win. I was just upset about losing to my cousin and took it out on him. I admit that was my fault. Evan, I'll never impulsively say break up to you again. Wow, it's not easy hearing that from you, Evan teases. My parents didn't know I had been in a relationship before, let alone about Evan. My feelings were complicated back then. I always thought I'd bring him home after I had completely beaten him. Only a year has passed, and looking back at my old competitive streak, it's just ridiculous. Naturally, my parents are very pleased with Evan. And they've arranged a time with Evan's parents to have dinner together and settle our engagement. When it's just Evan and me, I can't help but sigh, if only we had an arranged marriage from the start. If my grandpa was happy, maybe he would have given me the VP position. Thinking about this gets me excited. Do you think my grandpa will just make me CEO? Evan shoots me a look. What are you talking about? Are you marrying me or entering into a business alliance with me? I pout. My bad. We're not an arranged marriage, this is a power couple. Evan ruffles my hair. I'm going to run a bath. Want to take one together? I jump up. No. I still have things to do. Let me borrow your computer. I slip into his study. I'm not taking a bath with him. I know the password to Evan's computer, it's a combination of my name and his birthday. I've had my eye on a new project for the past few months. I was originally planning to do it with Larry, but now I'm going to snatch it for myself. I wasn't intentionally snooping on Evan's computer, but when I saw a folder named with my name and a date, I just couldn't help but click on it. The folder contained some photos of me from the past year, and also Larry's file. He even has records of when Larry contacted Olivia, and how many times they contacted each other this past year. He also knew when Olivia came back. I remember Evan told me when he came back, and it coincided with Olivia's return. I thought Evan was pretty good at keeping his cool, but it turns out he's been keeping a close eye on my situation all along. It's just that back then, Larry and I had only announced our engagement and hadn't made any big moves, so he stayed hidden. Evan walks in and sees me looking at the files and photos, not looking embarrassed at all about being caught. I give him a sideways glance. If I had married Larry, would you have come back to crash the wedding? Evan clears his throat, then says righteously, that Larry guy is no good. What's wrong with me crashing the wedding? I wave my hand. Get out, I need to work. I'm determined to get this project. I originally thought Larry would continue to be clingy with Olivia for a while, but unexpectedly, he's also been eyeing this project. I underestimated his ambition. The next time we meet is at a business cocktail party. Larry walks over with Olivia. These two have no subtlety, their thoughts are written all over their faces. Larry has a "you didn't appreciate me, now I have another woman by my side, it's too late for regrets" expression. Olivia, on the other hand, is looking at me with an "I gave you a year, but you weren't good enough, Larry is still mine" kind of gaze. Why does life have to throw two idiots at me at once? In this kind of setting, if I burst out laughing, I'll look like I'm the one who's not composed. I press my lips together, trying to hold back my laughter, as I watch the two of them approach me. Larry glances to either side of me and scoffs, "Why are you alone? Where's your boy toy?" Before I can speak, he answers his own question, "Oh, I forgot he's just a photographer. How could he possibly get into an event like this?" Larry lets go of Olivia, walks over to me, leans in close to my ear, and whispers, "Regretting breaking off our engagement for a photographer now? Mia, I can give you another chance. If you just give in to me now, the position of Mrs. Anderson is still yours." I turn my head and tell Olivia, "He said if I just give in to him, the position of Mrs. Anderson will still be mine." Larry's face turns green. The expression on Olivia's face is also priceless. "What nonsense are you talking?" Larry goes back to Olivia's side. "Don't listen to her." Olivia is clearly embarrassed but still trying to put on a brave face, affectionately linking her arm with Larry's. But when I go to the restroom, she runs over to warn me to stay away from Larry. I almost laugh. "In what capacity are you warning me? As the other woman?" When she and Larry got back together, Larry and I still had an engagement. Olivia lifts her chin slightly. "Larry has always loved me. The one who isn't loved is the other woman." I have nothing to say. With that kind of moral compass, she's basically said goodbye to normal human interaction. She and Larry really are a perfect match. "Olivia, if Larry really loved you, why did he leave you all alone and come back to the country in the first place?" Olivia bites her lip, glaring at me defiantly. "If you want to keep deceiving yourself," I shrug. "It has nothing to do with me anyway. I'd actually enjoy watching you and Larry get entangled and end up with nothing, since I love watching drama. But, let me give you a friendly reminder, that man who supposedly only loves you, told me himself that he would absolutely never marry a divorced woman. Think carefully about what you should do next." I reapply my lipstick and walk out. Evan usually doesn't attend these kinds of events. Everyone says the heir to the Chin Corporation is low-key and mysterious, especially during the year Evan was abroad. The rumors about him in our circles became even more outlandish. Some said he gave up his position as heir to personally expand the overseas market, showing a vision and capability that surpassed his peers, and that the Chin family had a worthy successor. But there were other voices, saying that Evan actually went abroad to heal a broken heart from his first love. In short, even though Evan didn't show his face in our circles, legends about him were everywhere. At tonight's party, someone mentioned Evan again, all of them wanting to connect with this new generation's rising star and collaborate. This Evan's first love, who exactly is she? When I return to the banquet hall, I hear Larry discussing Evan and his first love with someone. The other person laughs. "Larry, are you also looking to collaborate with this Evan?" Larry smiles without saying anything. That person nods knowingly. I seem to have heard some incredible news. Larry wants to collaborate with Evan? He just got into a fight with him, that Evan is probably sick to death of him. After the cocktail party, I say goodbye to a few other executives and am about to get in my car when Larry follows me. Olivia isn't with him. "Mia," Larry walks over, "I know you've been eyeing that Unicorn project lately. You know I'm also very interested in it." I thought he was going to shamelessly try to partner with me again, but then he says, "I can let you have this project. Our engagement continues, how about that?" I look at Olivia coming out from behind him. She sees Larry and me too, but doesn't come over. She just stands at the hotel entrance, watching us thoughtfully. I look away, and before I can answer, Evan's voice comes over. "Honey, ready to go?" When Larry sees Evan, his face shows a hint of displeasure, but then he scoffs when he sees Evan's car. Mia, a man who needs you to buy him a car, I really don't know what you see in him. Think about what I just said. He takes a small step forward. Oh, right, I also need to tell you something. Evan from the Chin family is back. You didn't know that, did you? I glance back at Evan. Not only do I know, I've already slept with him. Larry has an air of someone who's already won. I'm about to secure a partnership with Evan. With the Chin Corporation backing me, Mia, you should know whether I can bring you greater benefits, or this photographer. He laughs again. Of course, I admit he's better at taking pictures than I am. I'll give you 1 more week. Think it over. Larry gives me a profound look and leaves. I turn around, and Evan and I are speechless. Once in the car, Evan finally asks, where did your parents find such an idiot to set you up with? I feel insulted. A week later, Larry asks to see me again. I actually know very well that I shouldn't see him again, it's a waste of time. But I just can't help myself. In a busy life, having an idiot show up to provide some occasional entertainment is a rare treat. This time, Larry asks to meet me at a winery. As soon as I sit down, he pours me a glass of red wine. Try this, I made it myself. I look at him with a smile. Wow, you're so amazing. Larry blushes, and after a second of innocent charm, he's back to being smug. Mia, have you thought it through? I gently swirl the glass. You haven't done anything this whole week, just waiting for my news? Larry looks at me deeply. Of course. No wonder, I nod. Larry pauses. No wonder what? That Unicorn project, I got it, I say gratefully. If it weren't for you doing nothing this past week, leaving me with one less competitor, I probably wouldn't have landed this project so quickly. Larry opens his mouth, but I don't give him a chance to speak. Thanks to your inaction, you saved me a few minutes. I still have to thank you for that. Larry isn't stupid. Of course, he understood that it only took me a few minutes to beat him. He frowns. What do you mean? I tilt my head and smile at him. It means you're not worthy of being my opponent, you know? Larry stands up. I'm asking you, you're not planning to continue with our engagement, are you? I put on that adoring expression again. Wow, you're so smart. Mia, you're playing me. Larry becomes furious. But soon he reverts to his usual self-importance. Just Unicorn, do you really think I care? Mia, I was originally planning to let it slide because we grew up together, but you asked for this. He delivers his threat and storms off. Thanks to this idiot, my recent fatigue has completely vanished. I've been eyeing this Unicorn project for a long time, even made several versions of the proposal, and beat out several competing companies to finally sign the contract the day before yesterday. Landing a big project and having some drama to watch, life is pretty good. I go find Evan, ready to celebrate with him. Evan's parents are also there, which I didn't expect. It turns out they're here to support Evan as he officially takes over as CEO of the Chin Corporation. Evan's mother takes my hand. This kid taking over as CEO before marrying you, at least he's worthy of you now. The internal struggles in the Chin family are just like any other wealthy family. I just didn't expect Evan to be abroad for a year and then come back to take over as CEO of the Chin Corporation. His going abroad was definitely not just because he was heartbroken over our breakup. Sure enough, after Evan's parents leave, he confesses to me. The main reason I went abroad was indeed for the company's development. It just so happened that you wanted to break up with me at that time. I really couldn't split myself in two, so I had to go abroad first. He clears his throat, lowers his head, and looks at me with puppy dog eyes, looking pitiful. But I didn't want to break up with you, so I could only secretly investigate your fiancé. I roll my eyes. So that rumor about you going abroad because you were deeply hurt by your first love, you spread that too? Evan nods cautiously. Yes, for you to hear. He even has a justification. Well, you blocked me. I couldn't just have no news for a whole year, right? What if you forgot about me? I can't let this go so easily. I have to make a fuss about it, otherwise I won't feel right. I get it. To you, the CEO position is more important than me. Evan looks at me with an all-knowing gaze. If I couldn't even secure the CEO position, would you still marry me? Don't I know you? You have high standards for your significant other. He has to be handsome, have a good physique, be low-key and mysterious, know how to cook, and be capable. If I lost to my brothers, you definitely wouldn't look twice at me. As he speaks, he starts to sound wronged again. But why do I feel like he's bragging about himself? I remember when Evan and I first started dating, I said my ideal type was the domineering CEO from novels, perfect in every way. My future husband had to be like that to be worthy of me. He actually did hold himself to that standard. Now it's my turn to be embarrassed. I was just saying that casually. I was young back then, prone to fantasizing. Evan straightens his tall frame. Oh, so does that mean I don't have to be so aloof and detached anymore? Duh, you're not a god. Evan suddenly leans close to my ear. Then can I use the bathroom in front of you from now on? Get lost. Evan takes me to celebrate landing the Unicorn project. Unexpectedly, we run into Larry at the company entrance. He's earnestly telling the receptionist, just 10 minutes with Evan is all I need, please let me see him. I pull Evan over. Larry? Larry is surprised to see Evan and me. Mia? You're here to see Evan too. Are you deliberately trying to go against me? He then looks Evan up and down. You, a grown man, feel proud being a woman's accessory, don't you? I advise you to get lost quickly. This isn't a place for people like you. As soon as he finishes speaking, someone comes over and bows deeply to Evan. President, I'll escort him out now. Larry's scornful expression freezes. He just stands there, dumbfounded, staring at Evan. After a long moment, he finally manages to speak. President? You are. The person next to him speaks up. This is the newly appointed president of Archin Corporation, Mr. Evan. Larry's eyes widen. You're Evan? His face instantly turns deathly pale, and he swallows hard several times. You, how can you be Evan? You guys. He looks at me in disbelief. Wasn't he, by his first love, Mia, when did you two get together? Evan pulls me into his embrace. Let me introduce you. This is my first love, Mia. Also, I'm Mia's first love too, he says proudly. Before Larry can react, he's dragged out. Evan, please listen to my explanation. Mia, say something for me, we grew up together as childhood sweethearts. Evan curses, I wasn't that angry until he said that. Childhood sweethearts, big deal? Seeing me still looking in the direction Larry was dragged off, he bumps me with his shoulder. Still looking. Is it that interesting? I nod. Yeah, it's pretty interesting having a dimwit become part of our foreplay. Evan scoffs. Interesting, my ass. He's not acting like the domineering CEO from novels anymore, he's starting to let loose. Once in the car, Evan suddenly leans down, looking at me seriously. Mia, I want to tell you something. I nod. Go ahead. I'm actually not a domineering CEO at all, and I'm not cool at all. Will you still like me? His eyes are full of anticipation. I press my lips together to keep from laughing. Yes, yes. Then, he clears his throat and asks tentatively, if I'm a little bit lovesick, will you still like me? I'm about to burst out laughing, biting my lower lip hard as I nod. Yes. Evan sighs in relief and hugs me tightly. You're the best. Suddenly, I feel like I don't quite recognize him anymore. But this is better, more exciting, isn't it? When Larry finds me again, he looks much more worn down, completely devoid of his previous arrogance and superiority. Mia, please put in a good word for me with Evan. Everyone in our circle knows I've offended him. No one is willing to work with me anymore, and even my family is about to give up on me. I'm truly at a dead end. He continues to play the sympathy card. We did grow up together, after all. Help me out, okay? Please, I'm begging you. I shake my head. No. He humiliated me so badly at the photo studio, and he still expects me to speak up for him? Am I some kind of masochist? Don't contact me again. I don't want to see you. I get up and leave. Larry really doesn't come looking for me again. But I do see him one day. He's arguing with Olivia on the street. I gave you so much money, even bought you a house. Now you won't even sell the house to help me out? Olivia cradles her stomach with both hands. Those things were all gifts from you. Besides, weren't you telling everyone you wouldn't want someone else's leftovers? Why are you begging me, the leftover, now? Larry, I won't help you. I have no feelings for you anymore. I also regret ever liking you. Just looking at you now makes me sick. Get lost. Olivia shoves Larry away and quickly walks off. She looks up and sees me. She lifts her chin, walks up to me, and says, Mia, thank you for your earlier reminder. I have money now, and a baby on the way. Life is pretty good. As for that Larry, if you want him back, you can have him. I don't want him anyway. I pout. If you don't want him, then I don't want him either. Olivia went abroad again. She sold the house and, with the money Larry gave her, it was enough for her to live a good life abroad with her child. I have no opinion on her actions, it has nothing to do with me anyway. Because Larry kept pestering me, Evan directly released evidence of Larry being engaged to me while still being involved with his ex. The Anderson Corporation's stock plummeted, and they immediately announced that Larry had no further connection with the company. Larry is now a universally despised nobody. Whatever happens to him after this is his own business. Evan starts planning our wedding. A week before we register, he gives me an agreement and transfers all his assets to my name. Although I'm not that surprised, I can't help but ask him, why are you giving it all to me? Evan's handsome face is full of sincerity. Just giving it all to you. Don't you like it? From now on, I'll give you whatever you want. Didn't I tell you? I'm a little bit lovesick. My eye twitches, and I let out a dry laugh. This isn't a little bit. What are you doing? Evan suddenly becomes defensive. You said you'd still like me even if I was lovesick. You have to keep your word. If you really like competing that much, then let's go back to how we were before. I won't go easy on you, don't worry. But there's just one thing, whatever I win will eventually be yours anyway. Does that make it less fun, less exciting? Mia, will you find me boring? I shake my head. No. I can't help but hug him and pat his head. This kid has gaslighted himself so much I almost feel sorry for him. Honey, let's be a little more confident, okay? I like you no matter what. Evan instantly straightens his back. He's got his confidence back. On the day Evan and I get married, my grandfather gives me the position of CEO of the X Group. Because I did a beautiful job with that Unicorn project. Okay, I also know it has a little something to do with me marrying Evan. I wanted to rely on myself, but my husband is just too capable. That's not something I can control. My capable husband suddenly whispers in my ear, I feel like crying, what should I do? I turn my head, feeling helpless but also wanting to laugh. Then just cry. Evan's eyes instantly well up with tears, and he hugs me tightly. Honey, my dream finally came true. I laugh in his embrace. What's your dream? Evan gently kisses the top of my head. My dream is to be Mia's one and only.